Hiya and welcome to Build. I'm Daniel Welsh and today we are live from London with Norwegian singer-songwriter Aurora.
Hello.
Hello. If you've got a question for Aurora, then don't hesitate to get in touch. We are on Twitter at BuildSeriesLDN. That's BuildSeriesLDN on Twitter. Or if you're watching live on Facebook, then put a comment in the video that you're currently watching, and we'll do our best to get that to Aurora before the end of the interview. Aurora, hello, welcome to Build.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here. So we're here to talk about your new single, Queendom, the imaginatively titled Queendom. What can you tell us about the song?
Well, it's just the beginning to this new chapter we're heading into of my book of life, and it's meant to be just a celebration of us and how different we are, but also equal, you know, and it's about women, of course, men also, animals and children and the earth, just everything that's alive.
Well, the lyrics there's a real feeling of kind of togetherness and community about it. What inspired you to write the song?
Well, it was after, because in 2016 and 17, I met many of my listeners, my family, and it was interesting to see like how far we stretch, you know, from England to Brazil to, you know, the States and Australia, and it was just and I realized how many of us that have experienced a bit of the same things as I have, you know, outsiders, a bit of strange, you know, we are strange, aren't we? We are a bit weird, and I wanted Queendom to be this safe place for us.
That's really interesting. So when you were writing the first album, I guess you weren't really thinking about the people who would be listening to it at the end.
No.
So what was it like meeting all of these people while you were promoting that album, and, you know, like you say, kind of getting to know people and getting to get a sense of community with your fans?
Okay?
Sorry?
Is this okay to have
Yeah, get yourself comfortable. We're here for a while.
Oh, yeah. What? Sorry.
So what was that like getting to know... What was that like kind of getting to know people? Was that like surprising to you, kind of hearing everyone's experiences?
No, it's just lovely. I love hearing about, you know, all the stories and the different, you know, we are so deep. And normally when you meet people, you're only allowed, you know, to see the first layer, maybe the second, of that person. And I'm so lucky to be able to meet people and go straight to like the inner things they have in their hearts. It's so special, and it's such a beautiful way to meet humans.
Yeah.
It makes you love them. Us. I mean, I'm also human, of course.
Yeah, that sounded very external. Obviously, the title is Queendom, and you mentioned that it's a song for everyone. But when you hear Queendom, obviously, you think women and you think female solidarity. Is that something that was important to you when you were creating the song?
I'm a woman, so it's personal to me. Everything that happens against women all over the world, I kind of take personally, because it's sad.
Yeah.
You know, but also Queendom, it's very important for me that everyone knows that it's, you know, it's not only for women. It's just a way to kind of say you know, it's a title to my world. If I was to rule a universe, it wouldn't be a kingdom, because I don't have a penis.
You heard it here first, people. You mentioned the kind of the mistreatment of women and the sad things that are happening, but also Queendom, the track, it's a celebration. Was that also important to be like, listen, there are bad things, but we need to kind of rise above it and celebrate as well?
Yes, because I don't really think it really reaches us the same way, because I don't think we like being told, like, you need to care more about this, you know, as an above and down, you know, that, oh, you know, we need to be better at this and that and to care more, and, you know, that happens all the time to us, that we get to, you know, read and about things we're not doing enough for. So it's just nice to kind of say it, to care about things in a fun way.
Yeah.
Where we kind of focus on the things that we can love, instead of, as you know, the beautiful line in the newest Star Wars movie, to fight for what you love and not against what you hate. I really love that. A bit cheesy, but I loved it.
No, I think that's totally true. Like, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world, if you go on social media, it's just a deluge of just negativity. So it is nice to kind of be able to hear like an important message that is put to you in a kind of joyful way.
Yeah, because it is just love, and I can't really see love being projected in a negative way.
Vasco Slays on Twitter, fabulous name. He says, you were talking about if you were to rule, if you were to have your own queendom, and he wants to know, how would you describe that queendom visually?
I think it would look a lot like Rivendell from Lord of the Rings. That's where, you know, the fairies live. I wouldn't mind living there.
Nice. We just had a little look at the video, and we've got this fabulous, this is the single artwork, is that correct? You're obviously a very visual artist, you know, you've got a very distinct look, you've got a very distinct look in your videos and your artwork and things. When you're making music, is that something you're thinking about as well, or is that something that comes later?
Everything is very connected.
Yeah.
I know immediately what kind of colors is connected to a song and a melody. You know, you see most things in colors, and emotion has a color, and you know, a lyric and everything, for me at least. So it's very instant, everything. The hard part is to make it into the truth, or like to make a true interpretation of your own imagination, and kind of get it out there beyond my own body. If that makes sense.
No,
that's
absolutely.
But it's really fun, and I'm just really I'm really curious, and I want to try everything.
In terms of like your visuals and your music videos and your style as well, who are your kind of big influences? Who are the people that you...
I don't really like, I don't know, I think, of course I get influenced by everything I see. It can be just people I see on the street. Oh, there's me. It's just people I see on the street, music I hear, and food you eat, and you know, traveling, seeing different, how the culture is. And I love old traditional things, like how we dress, like you know, the Vikings and the warriors, and also a lot of African culture. I think is beautiful, in you know, and all the sides of it, the music and the you know, and also I'm quite into Japanese and Chinese kind of traditional clothing. So it's just like, I don't know, I like what I like, and it can change a lot from a day. Like I said earlier that I hate pink, and I'm wearing pink today. So I don't know. I'm very inspired by how I feel on the inside.
Well, I mean, it's important not to limit yourself, isn't it, in terms of like, oh, I don't like pink, so I can't ever wear pink again.
No.
Yeah.
No, if I change my mind, I will wear pink.
Well, I'm glad you did, because those are some cracking trainers you got on Aurora, if I didn't say
the one
so.
I have on the video, they got poop in them, so I had to wear these. No questions.
Can we just chat a little bit more about Queendom? Because you said you wrote it for the fans. How has the reaction been? Did it have the reaction that you wanted when it finally got out there into the world?
Yes, definitely. And it's very exciting, because, you know, I don't like dividing people, because, you know, we are very similar.
Yeah.
But it has kind of made a clear division in my fans also, and also in the, you know, the difference between my fans and also the rest of the world. And I think sometimes people don't understand me that well, or understand the music, or the, you know, the hands and why, what, you know. And but it's been very nice to see. It's very nice to challenge people a bit more. And I've always said a lot of things in my music, but now I'm being a bit more direct, so it's easier to get like a first impression in, okay, that's what the song is about. But if you listen and you'll know and you'll see into it, you'll know that it's about much more than what it seems, you know, with the first meeting. So it's exciting to see the people who really dive into it and to see that they find more, they find many different things and beauty. And you see the other people that, I think are a bit more lazy, that doesn't really dive into music. They just see the first.
Yeah, first top layer.
But that's also, we need both. And I think I've had kind of 50-50 mixed kind of people who said, oh, feminism, you're a left side puppet or whatever. They, like, oh,
yeah.
That's my best impression of them.
It's pretty spot on, to be honest with you, Aurora.
But it's I like that it's challenging people a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
It's boring if everyone loves it, and I love you guys who love it. That's brilliant.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about connecting with the people who need to feel that way. Because, I mean, you mentioned the opening line of the song. It's about the underdogs and the quiet ones.
Yeah, the introverts. I'm an introvert. And the world is not created for introverts. Because when people are really external and out there, people say, oh, I like that guy. He's really out there.
Yeah.
And then they say, but she's a bit strange. She was quiet the whole time. And that's, that now I'm a bit better at talking to people because I've met 5 billion people in the last 4 years.
You're well practiced now.
Yes, I know how to, do that. But I didn't before. And I didn't really care about people before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like people. Because it was just like I had myself and my forest. But now my world is much bigger than before.
Let's go right back to the beginning, because obviously you're still very young. You're 21.
Yes.
Yeah. That is correct, isn't it?
Yes.
You're 21, which you started out really, really young. Was performing and singing something that you always had an interest in, even when you were a child?
Not performing.
Oh, really?
No. I didn't perform before I was 16, I think, after my management found me and said, do you want to become an artist? And I said no. But then I changed my mind because of my mother. She said that I should share what I have in here with people. But I didn't really have the need to perform. I just liked to write because it made me feel divine.
So you said you weren't really interested in performing at first. How did you tackle that? Because obviously performing is quite a daunting thing for even like the most confident of people. How long did it take you to kind of get into the swing of it, I guess?
It took, I think, over 100 shows before I even liked performing.
Oh, wow.
It took quite a long time.
That's a long
me.
time. So how were you, when you were kind of in before these 100 shows, what was your attitude then? Were you...
I was just really like, do I have to do this for the rest of my life? And I was quite like, oh, this is like the bad side of my work.
Yeah.
I get to make music and I get to meet people, but I have to perform. That was kind of like the part of my job or a hobby. But now I love it.
So what changed? What clicked for you?
I just realized that, the shows aren't really about me. It's about the emotion that is created between me and the audience. So it's not directly about me. I'm just kind of a vessel for the emotion that, and people cry and they have their own stuff, they're in their own movie. And that just made me... It was actually meeting my fans that made it easier for me to play. Because through you and through them, I realized that, it's much bigger than me. And then I got less nervous. So it helped, like you helped me through that.
I suppose in a way as well, it's like the fans are contributing by being a part of it. It's not just you standing on a stage and everybody else has stood quietly watching you. It's like everybody's involved.
And we communicate a lot. Like I hear them say something from the crowd, and I say, "What? What did you say? It's your birthday. That's very nice. What's your name?" It's very like communicative.
It's like a dialogue, yeah.
Yes, and it's nice. It's just like I feel like we're friends. So it's much easier to do things because it's just like being with friends.
Well, on that note, we do actually have some more fan questions.
Ooh.
So Camila Moonmixer on Twitter, hello, asks, what are the main things that your new album is inspired by?
The new album is very inspired by kind of the first was a bit more narrow, you know. I have the little moth on the cover,
Yeah.
the small things, and it was about like emotions that I had felt through, you know, the age of 9 and until then, and also, you know, a bit more narrow, I guess, about people and about, you know, dealing with their own demons and stuff like that. But this album is just a bit more wide. The perspective is a bit wider. It's kind of like I'm just taking a step back from the world and myself.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, it's a bit, the arms of this album kind of stretches longer, if that makes sense.
I think that's often the case with artists, is that the first album will be about you and about your experiences and your things that you want to get across. And then you'll go through the touring period and the promotion period. And like you've mentioned, meeting fans and finding out the impact you've had. And then it's like, okay, what do I want to say on their behalf?
Yeah. And it's just a bit more like I'm using my position a bit more in this era than before, because I realized that, you know, people are actually listening, so it's a bit more concrete what I'm trying to say than on the last one, because I was quite, you know, metaphoric, and I still am, but it's quite like the first layer of each song says a bit more than before, if that makes sense. It's just a bit more, I have even more to say.
Do you kind of see yourself as a voice for your fans in a way, like the things that they are concerned about and the things that they're going through?
I think they're voices of their own, because when I see, you know, the meanings, and, you know, they inspire me a lot. And when I see just them crying or during a show or closing their eyes, and when I feel the hug, it's just they're very much, you know, they're all warriors, because I've heard about things many of them are dealing with and have dealt with, and it's still about, like, the next album is very emotional. It's about human emotions, and it's a bit apolitical. It's about sensuality. It's about horrible things that we do sometimes. There are a few songs which are quite sad.
Dark.
Which is kind of episode 2 of previous very dark songs. I guess you can figure it out. So yeah, it's actually quite interesting, because I'm continuing some of the stories I started on my first album. And I'm continuing on a few of them on this.
That is interesting. Before we go, I've got a couple more fan questions. Mava on Facebook
Hello.
says, I don't even know what to ask, so hey, Aurora, love you.
Oh, hello, Mava.
There you are, Mava. You owe me a Coke for getting that message across, mate. And Anna on Twitter asks, who were the first artists that inspired you when you were growing up?
Actually, Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen. Just because, we didn't have a radio. We didn't have, like, TV. I didn't watch TV. I didn't get much from the outer world. We had the LPs, or this
Records, yeah.
record, and the record player, you know, so I didn't really have a lot of inputs. And on school, I remember I was the only one who never knew who anyone was, like, who's, you know, I knew who Beyonce was, like, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about anything. So I had the records that I had when in my house, and that was the artists I listened to, which is Bob Dylan, Cohen, and Anya.
Amazing. What a trio. So now that you're obviously in the music industry, have you found that you're discovering more artists that you like, now that obviously it's a much more big part of your life and your career?
I do discover artists based on personalities the most. Like, I meet them backstage on a festival.
Okay.
And I say, okay, who are you? And I search them up afterwards. If I feel like they were an interesting person, because it often reflects in the music, and sometimes not, of course, which is cool. But I don't have Spotify or iTunes, so I don't know. It's hard for me to find new music, which is really bad. I should enjoy.
But it's good in a way in that you're not kind of being swayed either way. It means that you can focus more on your own music rather than going, oh, that person's done that, so I'm going to try that. Or
yeah, it's just like I have so much music in my head all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think about things because I'm always like constantly I'm working on at least four songs, you know, and I have certain parts of every song ready, but you know, I'm kind of always working on stuff in my head.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. I never listen to music almost. If I do, I still listen to Enya.
Well, that's good. It's relaxing.
Yeah, it is. She's an angel.
Before we wrap up, let me ask you, what would you like to have achieved this time in 12 months? Because obviously you've packed a lot into 21 years, but in a year's time, where would you like to be? What would you like to have done? I'm a very curious human. So I'm very, I hope I get to explore a lot of different things, both visually, and you know, I'm very excited to kind of develop my live shows a bit more. I don't know. I'm very happy where I am. I don't need to be anywhere else. I hope I'll get to naked swim many times this year. Nice. Well, on that note, Aurora, it's been lovely talking to you. Aurora, obviously, Queendom is out now, so download that, stream that, and Aurora is going to be all over Europe this summer and later this year, so go on her website, aurora-music.com, for all of the dates, and please give it up one more time for the amazing Aurora.